The best artists are the most tortured, or so they say. Actors who can take the emotions they are personally dealing with and channel it into their craft tend to be the most celebrated. But some actors will take this a step further and dive fully into the character they're playing, essentially blurring the lines of reality and make-believe, to a point where the character bleeds into their own self. A practice that's become popularized and is known as method acting. The extremes that some actors are willing to put themselves through can be a cause for concern. At what point does the sacrifice for good art become less important than the diminishing health of that same artist? Joaquin Phoenix has had to question this very same thing throughout his career. For every role he takes on, he's put himself through hell, a sufferable experience he's willing to exchange over and over again simply to deliver a great performance. Yet time after time, it falls short in the eyes of the Academy. With his most recent role, Joker, without knowing it, Joaquin has been sacrificing himself his whole life in preparation. And unlike those roles of the past, this suffering is one that may finally pay off.
And the Oscar goes to...
But at what cost? Some of the most celebrated actors have all suffered for the greater good of art. Christian Bale lost 60 pounds in just 4 months to play the 120-pound insomniac Trevor Resnick. Bale stuck to a diet of black coffee, a single apple, and a tin of tuna a day, amounting to about 200 calories. Then, in just 5 months, gained back 70 pounds of pure muscle to play his role of Bruce Wayne in the first of 3 Batmans. In talking about his unbelievable transformations, he told the Sunday Times, "I can't keep doing it. I really can't. My mortality is staring me in the face." In Revenant, Leonardo DiCaprio embodied the life of Hugh Glass, basically living like he was actually there in the cold winters of Montana during the 1800s. When asked about the filming process, Leo said, "I can name 30 or 40 sequences that were some of the most difficult things I've ever had to do, whether it was going in and out of frozen rivers or sleeping in animal carcasses or what I ate on set," which did include a real raw bison liver in this scene. The reaction to this that Leo has is the actual reaction he had while eating the real thing. For his dedication, Leo finally won his first Oscar ever after being nominated 4 times before and losing every single one.
And the Oscar goes to Leonardo DiCaprio.
And then the most notorious portrayal of any character, Heath Ledger as Joker in The Dark Knight. But Heath didn't play the Joker, he became him.
How about a magic trick? Make this pencil disappear.
In watching his character, there's absolutely no resemblance to Heath Ledger in this role. In the end, it killed him. At the time of filming for The Dark Knight, Heath had been in a downward spiral. A combination of his insomnia, hard drug use, and recent breakup with girlfriend and mother to his daughter, Michelle Williams. On top of this, there was an immense amount of pressure to deliver on the role of Joker. When he was originally cast in the film, diehard Batman fans were pissed. With most of his popularity coming from 10 Things I Hate About You and Brokeback Mountain, the general consensus was that Heath couldn't deliver in this new role. Leading up to the film's release, there were no leaks or pictures released of the Joker, so no one had any idea of how he's going to be portrayed. That is until the studio released just this one single photo. It was a stark contrast to that of the last Joker from 1989 that Jack Nicholson played.
You'll never believe what happened to me today.
Aside from this picture, fans were left out in the dark. They had no idea what to expect with Heath Ledger's delivery of the Joker. They only had this one photo. Well, that is until 6 months before the movie officially released. In the afternoon of January 22nd, 2008, Heath Ledger was found dead in his Manhattan apartment.
The actor Heath Ledger was found dead today in an apartment here in New York City. He was just 28 years old.
An autopsy found that the death was accidental and due to a lethal mix of prescription drugs. Although it's not certain whether playing the Joker drove Heath Ledger to his death, it certainly didn't help. With the immense pressure put on his shoulders, Heath went to the extreme to prepare for this role, locking himself in an apartment and keeping with him a journal of Joker's thoughts. Also practicing the mannerisms he wanted for the character. Talking and laughing to himself to perfect the tone of Joker while locked away in his apartment. One that he modeled very closely to musician Tom Waits.
Is that what do you agree with that expression, a cult following?
I have a growing level of popularity throughout the intercontinental United States.
When the film finally did release 6 months after his death, viewers were stunned. His portrayal of Joker was eerie, original, and mesmerizing.
Where is Harvey Dent?
Any haters did a complete 180. Heath went through a lot to deliver for this role, and with his sacrifice, he'd deliver an all-time great performance, and take home Best Supporting Actor at the 2009 Oscars.
And the Oscar goes to Heath Ledger in The Dark.
An award he'd been nominated for just a few years prior for his role in Brokeback Mountain that he ultimately did lose.
The Oscar goes to Philip Seymour Hoffman.
The win, although great, does seem to be a small consolation in the grand scheme of things. That same year, someone else who lost was Joaquin Phoenix. That year, he played Johnny Cash in the biographical drama Walk the Line. This role took a lot out of Joaquin for embodying Johnny Cash. Very quick, if you are enjoying this video, please consider throwing us a sub. That's it. This role took a lot out of Joaquin for embodying Johnny Cash. He essentially sunk into a spiral while portraying the musician. Like in this scene where he's tearing out the sink, it was completely improvised and merely a result of his own emotions coming out. During the movie's filming, Joaquin developed an alcohol addiction, much like the real Johnny Cash did. Once the role was over, Joaquin said, "It was really hard for me to leave that movie. To play Cash, I had learned a whole new way of functioning in the world, and suddenly I couldn't rely on that anymore." Those on set believed Joaquin Phoenix became so enamored with playing Johnny Cash because he found solace in doing it. When Johnny Cash was only 13 years old, his brother died in a tragic accident, an experience Joaquin was all too familiar with. The role acted as a sort of therapy for Joaquin, whose brother and famous actor River Phoenix died when he was just 23 and Joaquin 19.
Before actor Joaquin Phoenix walked the line as Johnny Cash, he was at his brother River Phoenix's side as he collapsed outside the Viper Room in Los Angeles back in 1993.
Please, you must get over here, please.
Okay, take it easy, okay?
Please, because he's dying.
River Phoenix died that night. An autopsy
Eventually, filming for Walk the Line did finish. Depressed, addicted, and lonely, Joaquin checked himself into rehab.
Is it really your last film?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because there will be.
I'm through it, man. I think it's just moving on. It's rediscovering something else. I don't understand why it seems so hard to understand.
A few short years after coming out of rehab, it seemed like Joaquin Phoenix was done with movies and acting entirely.
I don't want to play the character of Joaquin anymore. Now, for the first time, I'm doing something that is, whether you like it or not, it really represents me.
People were confused. Here he was at the height of his career, and he wanted to throw it all away to pursue...
Well, I've been working on my music.
Music?
I do more hip-hop music.
Hip-hop music.
That's a joke. What do you have them on?
Was he serious? It sure seemed like it, even how absurd it all was. Many were thinking he was in the midst of a mental breakdown, dealing with the pressure of Hollywood, fulfilling the demanding ask for all the roles he's played, and most notably, not processing the death of his brother all these years later, who, like Joaquin, was in the middle of a budding career before tragically passing.
I'm hopeful that you will reconsider and come back to acting, because you're just, nobody really better than you are.
Well, it turns out it was all an art piece.
Well, we wanted to do a film that explored celebrity and explored the relationship between the media and the consumers and the celebrities themselves.
The product being a mockumentary film titled I'm Still Here. Joaquin did take some time off after this film, but came back onto the scene with The Master, where again his performance would earn him an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. But again, he'd lose.
And the Oscar goes to Daniel Day-Lewis.
Joaquin was 0 for 3 on Oscars. What more could he give? What would it take for Joaquin to get the recognition he so deserves?
Murray, one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
Like Heath experienced in 2009, Joaquin's role as the Joker 10 years later came with it an immense amount of pressure, possibly even more so given Heath's legendary portrayal of Joker in The Dark Knight. Like those actors discussed already, Joaquin approached his character in a similar fashion, fully embodying who the Joker represented in this film. First, losing over 50 pounds with a strict diet of apples, steamed asparagus, and cigarettes. Then, like Heath, Joaquin kept a journal of his thoughts, most of which contained half-baked jokes that Joker would think up, which do actually appear in the movie. Yet, unlike the others who set out to get in a very specific mindset for the characters they play, Joaquin's approach was slightly different. To a certain extent, he's been this character his whole life. For Joaquin, playing the Joker became a natural reflection of his upbringing, one that's been clouded with trauma and reclusion. Like Joker, Joaquin's always been a loner, secluded and mysterious.
What does that mean?
I feel like we don't know a ton about you personally. Is that intentional?
Whenever he does come out in rare public appearances, people don't know who they're going to get. Joker wasn't just another role. It wasn't acting. It was a cathartic release of everything that Joaquin's been through. Joaquin is someone who remains hidden in all regard outside of acting. For this role, he allowed himself to be an open book for viewers to take in. His lifetime of hardship, isolation, and tragedy was on full display, cultivated into something beautiful to tell a story, provide entertainment, and to provoke our own reflection of self. Great art has and always will be derived from self-expression. Actors like Joaquin, DiCaprio, Ledger, and Bale are some of the best. Their willingness to suffer for their craft is what sets them apart, and at times, it can be rewarded.
The Oscar goes to Joaquin Phoenix, Joker.
But the question remains, is it worth it? If you watched all the way to here, you're the best. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think about this topic. And if you don't already, please throw us a sub. We drop a video every week. Thanks for watching.